if you were asked to pick one thing to do in the air for the rest of your life, you'd have to pick this one. Obviously, there's a bit of carving going on. Oh! You answered. What up?
You don't bring it back. It doesn't count.
I landed sideways a few times.
Well, you gotta sort that out.
I gotta sort that out. You clicked on this video and you saw what it's titled, so you know what you can expect. And this isn't it. This video isn't how-to tutorial, how to get slime off your hands. This is supposed to be how to do like the most fun and playful move you could possibly do in the air on your bicycle. I feel like this move right here is one that if you were asked to pick one thing to do in the air for the rest of your life, you'd have to pick this one. It's a whip. Simply, you know, put in technical terms, it's getting your bike sideways in the air and bringing it back straight before you land. Pierce, that's a great point. Your whip is like your fingerprint as a mountain biker. And, you know, the double-edged sword of a whip is most of the time, if you try to do a good one, you do a bad one. The more you think about it, the worse your whip gets. And my whips got better recently. And I was trying to think, what is it? What is the circumstance, the scenario that leads up to a good whip? And for me, it's not really paying attention. Being in the middle of a really good session, just like feeling playful on my bike and deciding that I'm over tricks and just leaning really hard off the lip. And my whips got better. And as soon as I try to, you know, duplicate that, my whips get worse. So I'm on a quest right now to figure out how to like catch that lightning in a bottle of being in the best part of a session, leaning off the lip and getting that bike so sideways and having it come back straight so effortlessly and smoothly. There's a lot of different ways to do a whip, so this is not the comprehensive tutorial on how to do every different type of whip. We're gonna focus on one whip. If we were to name the different types of whips, I would name this one Eileen. I leaned into that one. The objective of today's fun little session on the neighborhood jump is to take this 20-foot long trick jump that isn't a 40-foot trick jump, which would be ideal for a big whip, but we're gonna try to catch lightning in a bottle and really figure out the steps to being able to do the Eileen whip on purpose rather than on accident once a year. We're gonna try to break down the steps. Let's do it. CSI crime scene investigators, and we were trying to figure out like what's been going down on this session right now. These tire tracks tell a pretty detailed story. They come in pretty much as far riders left as you can get on the run-in, and then they end about as far riders right as you'd want to be on the lip off the takeoff. So since we're kind of like, we're like backtracking, trying to reverse engineer a good whip, this is going to tell us something right here. Obviously, there's a bit of carving going on in order to get a good whip. That's all we've been doing all day is only whips. So we can see that we set up super far left and exit the lip super far right. The thing that I'm thinking about, the thing that has been on my mind when I get a good whip recently is to lean back as hard as I can and drop my shoulder. So I'm leaning back, I'm putting all my weight back like this and trying to have weight over my left shoulder because I'm kicking the bike out to the right. My back tire is coming out to the right, trying to get the bike 90 degrees to the right. And I know this is going to be a weird concept to grasp if you've never done a 360, but bear with me. you understand the concept of what a 360 is, and you know you got to throw your weight really hard off the lip. So when I'm coming up the lip, I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to be in the body position of a 360 for as long as I can. It's like, ooh, like one of those games where it's like who can put their hand on the hot pot longer, you know, whoever does wins. It's like, if I can just hold this 360 body position as long as I can, even though I know it's a bad idea, then as soon as I release and like all the compression of my suspension on the lip starts to release off the lip, then that bike is just, it's just spitting out this way. And that way you're not jerking. If you get in the air and then you try to do your whip, it just gets herky-jerky. You're gonna end up getting stuck sideways. But if you initiate the whip off of the lip, then the bike seriously sounds ridiculous. It's like a yo-yo though. It comes back on its own. Nose down, straight, front tire first, back tire follow suit, and you go right back straight the way you started. And I think that's the main tip. And so I'm gonna do a few, and I warn you, the one thing about a whip is the harder you try to do a good one, the worse your whip ends up being, and the more you think about it, the less likely you are to stomp a good one. So I'm hoping that this video helps you and doesn't hurt you, but if you never do a good whip ever again, don't blame me. I'm trying to help. I'm gonna go do a couple and see if I can snap into a good one. My favorite part about looking at these tire tracks is I'm never really consciously thinking I want to start out to the left and carve to the right. But, you know, kind of like come to think of it, anytime I'm at a Crankworks event and you look at the whip-off jump after the whip-off has taken place, obviously there's people whipping to the right, there's people whipping to the left, and, you know, this is what the lip looks like. It's got a line going each direction. So at this point, you want to come in a little bit faster than you normally would to just like completely dead sailor straight air the jump, because you're going to go up. Leaning back is going to cause you to really pop the lip. So as you're leaning and your tire's kind of carving off the top right corner of the lip, you're loading up your rear suspension and basically dropping that shoulder as much as you can. A lot of times, if you've really committed really nicely, your tire might start to break traction a little bit. You'll see it roost out a little bit on the lip. And Chase had a good point right now, is it's like a high scrub. If you come in a little bit faster than you would to straight air the jump, and you lean mega hard and you lean back, it acts as a scrub, but a scrub that goes up. And that's the kind of whip that can bring itself back somehow. I don't know. There's probably some science behind it. So a lot of people turn into their whip. A lot of people turn away from their whip. So I do the way where you turn into the whip. And you know, you can start it as a table and let the back end come around. That's a different kind of whip. But you know, my good friend Eileen is more like you're leaning so hard with your weight over your shoulder and your weight back that when you kind of release off the lip, your bars automatically turn because you're putting so much weight on your left shoulder. And so it brings your handlebars turning to the left. And then once you get to that point where it's like, all right, this thing's gonna have to come back or I'm gonna crash. And then naturally, you're just gonna know that you're gonna start turning your handlebars more to the right. And now you're at that 90 spot with your handlebars turning straight to the landing and your feet kind of come into play. And you kind of pick up your feet, pick up your outside, your back foot, boom, and pull the bike straight a little bit. But I'm never even really like consciously thinking too much about turning the handlebar. It's just a symptom of leaning so hard off the lip. And like, I don't know any better way to describe this than you want the bike to feel like it's releasing off the lip. You want to feel like there's so much pressure between the bike and the lip and the suspension is bottomed out so much that when it exits the lip, it's like, whew, it's like all this pressure and tension and then whew, it releases and picks that back end up like way up in the air, ideally. Let's go try one. just one dude right here talking about a whip that works for me. And realistically, we should check in with some people who have won whip-off contests. One of which, I definitely has his number in my phone because it's my brother, Tyler McCall. He's won the whip-off at Whistler. And he says he's available for a FaceTime right now. I'm gonna FaceTime him and get his 2 cents on what makes a good whip, how to do a good whip. What up? Where are you? You riding? Oh, Ripley! Hi, little nephew. Okay, Tyler. I just gave my 2 cents and just like tried feebly to get a good whip on my jump for like 4 hours straight. And my thing for whips is like, as soon as you get a good one, then you know too much and you're done committing all the way for the day. And it's hard to get another one. You just keep chasing the dragon. What is your either like a tip for a good whip or just like what you believe even defines a whip?
The major rule of thumb is if you don't bring it back, it's not a whip.
I like it.
So it doesn't matter how far you get it out. If you don't bring it back, it doesn't count.
I did a handful today that by your definition definitely don't count. I landed sideways a few times.
Well, you gotta sort that out.
I gotta sort that out. All right, thank you, Tyler.
Yep.
Later.
Good luck.
There's Tyler's rule. If you don't land it straight, you don't bring it back, it's not a whip. Legit. I like that. Let's call, I think if we call somebody else who has won a Crankworks whip-off contest, we're going to be sitting pretty and we're going to know what makes a good whip. I'm going to call Alan Cook, my partner in crime when it comes to the Crankworks broadcast. I think he's going to answer. Oh!
Oh, hey, Ken, what's up?
You answered. What up? Oh, dude, that's perfect. We got another insane whipper on the line right now. This is nuts. Okay.
How can I help you, sir?
I need some opinions here. So I'm chasing the dragon. I'm trying to get a good whip. I'm trying to like explain how to do a good whip and what makes a good whip. And I know you are pretty opinionated on this and you have a good one-liner of your beliefs on a whip. What is that, Alan?
Well, if you want to do a whip cam, you need to get your front tire over your head on the way up and your back tire over your head on the way down. Otherwise, it's just a kick out.
Otherwise,
Bob Gold medals too, so maybe he's got a different opinion.
yeah.
You just have to land right is the most important part as well.
Dude, I just called my brother and he said the same thing.
We got some consistent feedback, man. Now you know what you need to do.
Boom. Hey, you guys rule for answering. I'm going to do my best to try to get something that is considered a whip. So thanks for the feedback and the tips.
Yeah. Good luck.
It's all about pulling back on your top hand.
Pulling back on your top hand. I don't even know what that means, but I'm gonna think about that one. I'm gonna like next time I'm taking a and I've got some time to myself, I'm gonna think about that.
Nice. All right, piece it together.
All right, thanks you guys. Later.
Bye.
Okay, well we got a lot to work with there. I feel like it's always the thing that you are gonna be trying to chase, right? The perfect whip is elusive, and that's why you keep riding. That's why you throw your leg over your bike every day. There's my 2 cents. There's a couple of cents from Alan Cook, Tyler McCall, Matt Bagg. Go out and whip your bike. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. It's true. And then when you can't get a good whip, you're like, who am I anyways? You're looking at your fingers like, I don't even know who I am anymore.